Right there, geezers, Jules here from FGS, home of the Future Game Show. And as you can see, Tony the Toxic Shrew is joining me here today, you know, the small mammal that my bosses send over to keep productivity, and apparently the casualty's pretty high here at Future through fear of him touching and infecting employees. And I can only imagine that this is a bad thing. What's that, mate? Oh, right, okay, I see. So he's saying that he's here because we're talking about video games and time limits today, and he's hoping to get some tips on deadly consequences for taking too long. See, mate, this is why you don't get invited to many things. That's just weird. You're such a job's worth. You've got to, ironically, take some time away from your jobs to experience something else, and maybe, just maybe, you might learn to enjoy things a lot more. So tell you what, mate, instead of just sitting here and watching me do this, why don't you go to the kitchen, have a cup of tea, and just take 5, mate. I'll fill you in on all the details later. Just take a break. Yeah, I've got oat milk. Don't worry about it, mate. I bought it especially for you. Right, off you go. See ya. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this boy. Lactose intolerant, right? Anyway, right, he's gone. So now I actually have a little bit of time to talk about video games that had their own time limits, but for some reason, these were kept secret from the player, and the results of which were sometimes devastating. So let's have a chat, as I'm Jules, this is FGS, and these are 8 video games with secret and devastating time limits. Number 8, Atom RPG. Now, upon being thrust into the irradiated and ghoul-infested but legally distinct from Fallout world of Atom, you'll be tasked with just one goal: survive. Which is kind of a lie, really, because Atom RPG actually throws you a billion side quests right off the jump, and it's quite overwhelming at points. Now, it's pretty typical of an RPG to dole out quests left, right, and centre, but what the game forgets to tell you is that some of these scenarios are actually secretly timed. Cheers. Thanks for that. You see, entire side quests and even NPCs can disappear from towns and cities if you take too long questing in other areas, which might not seem like much of an issue, but early game experience, weapons, and items that you can get from these quests sure can be felt if you don't have them when you start coming up against some stiff resistance from other enemies in the game. Surviving in this game is tough enough to begin with, but if you spend too much time, I don't know, like questioning if that lump on your arm is developing its own fingers over getting on with your jobs, then you might find an utter drought when you return to certain towns. Number 7, Cart Life. Time is money, and it sure don't wait for anyone or anything. Now, if you wanted to feel that itchy rash of anxiety that comes with being put under the hammer through a medium which is supposed to help us escape and relax, then boy howdy is Cart Life for you. This tells the story, well, technically stories, of 3 different street vendors who are just trying to make ends meet. Each of them are on the breadline. Each of them has some overarching, and some would say soul-crushing, goal that they want to achieve, and all have to put up with the mundanity of serving the same people every day in the same way, while also putting their own aspirations on stasis. It is a game about contemplation, about how the daily grind does just that, wears one's soul down to a nub, and about the people in your life who then give you the energy once more to do it all over again. While Cart Life is very upfront about its time limits, seeing as you are on the clock to fulfill certain orders, some choices that you make have unknown durations and therefore have unknown consequences. For example, walking to work is a free option for travel, which helps you save money for better supplies and just being able to pay your bills on time, but it does come with the risk of being stopped, delayed, assaulted, or even detained. Other choices will ask you to spend time away from work in order to take care of your friends and family, or maybe just ask you if you need to take a break for risk of overloading your body and your brain. But all of this comes with a secret timer behind all of them, because time away from work, time away from earning, has far-reaching consequences. Money or happiness, isolation or togetherness, these are the hard questions that Cart Life asks, and trust me, there's very few outcomes that benefit everyone. Number 6, Illbleed. Well, after the rather sobering cart life, I sure could do with something of a palate cleanser, you do say? Yeah, definitely. And so we're now off to the blood-soaked and utterly ridiculous world of Illbleed, a horror game for the Dreamcast, like if Resident Evil was made by the minds behind Minesweeper. Confused? Well, so the f*** was I when I played this for the first time as a kid, because you need to use a special set of goggles to locate traps, or shock areas as this game calls them, and mark them so that when you approach that same area, instead of being spooked and losing health, you instead get a boost to your abilities. It's weird, it's clunky, but my god is it an original approach to a survival horror. Plus, the animations of the shocks are often hilarious and weird, so are almost worth checking out. In fact, somebody put up a full compilation of all of them, and I strangely recommend you watch it. That being said, there's actually a secret time limit that will also shorten your life here, because not only can you fail to save other characters if you spend too long in a level, but the game also increases the damage done by the traps the longer you take. Therefore, if you cautiously scan areas over and over, you'll end up taking just as much, if not more damage from one trap that you missed than if you just ran through all of the traps, triggering everything. Now, it's a bit of a harsh punishment in a game that wants you to slow down and take in the environments, but at the same time, if I saw a dancing pineapple, I too would likely have a bloody heart attack. Say goodbye to the people. Goodbye, everybody! Number 5, Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. Bloody hell, it's been a while, at least like 2 videos since I've referenced a Warhammer video game, and by the fact that I'm shaking so heavily right now, I can only assume that I'm getting withdrawal. So let's talk about how, when I was playing the almighty Rogue Trader for the first time, and about how when I'd made a few choices on my path to glory and conquest, I was met with a little pop-up saying, "Time passed 8 hours." At this moment, dread hit me more than a Black Templar who'd only been praying to the Emperor of Mankind 40 times that hour instead of the customary 45. Because, wait a minute, was this game actually tracking my time? What did it relate to? What mission was I messing up because of this choice? Was I missing out on characters for my retinue? Tell me, game, for the love of God, tell me! To which Rogue Trader said in no uncertain terms, no. Time and time again, I was hit with time past X hours, and every time this happened, I forced myself back to the critical path instead of exploring the unknown pockets of the galaxy, completely unsure of what exactly I was messing up. But the answer was kind of very little. You see, while there are a few missions in the game that are affected by time delays, such as more enemies being in the maps or NPCs being unable to offer assistance with certain skill checks, no worlds will be lost, no companions will be killed. It turns out that this wasn't some kind of XCOM doomsday scenario with a ticking clock, and more that this was like a Casio wristwatch of mild panic instead. So why is it in this video, I hear you ask? Well, because these goddamn time limits had a devastating effect on me. The emotional turmoil that this caused me was so high that it had me begging to be lobotomized and turned into a servitor. So thanks, Rogue Trader. Cheers for that unnecessary panic. I can't wait to see how you mess with me in Dark Heresy. Number 4, time flies. Oh dear, what is this? Why, it's the Evil Finger Temple of Doom, which is not out just because I actually laced the oat milk for Tony the Toxic Shrew's tea with sleeping powder because, again, he is trying to murder me, but also because the next game that we're talking about actually does inform you of its time limit right off the bat, but it delivers its devastating effects in such a way that I really just have to talk about it. You see, this is Time Flies, a cutesy minimalistic title in which you play as a fly just trying to make the most of their short life. You're given a long checklist of things the fly would like to accomplish in their time, but the kicker is that as flies don't have a long lifespan, neither do you have much time to complete this bucket list. So what do you do? How do you choose how to live your life? Do you go about ticking things off, or do you just float about enjoying each scenario and not really worrying about the pressure to do stuff just for the sake of it? Well, whatever you choose, an invisible timer clocks up until finally you croak and your achievements are laid bare in front of you. It's a rather lovely insight into how we spend our own time on this planet. Do we rush forward attempting to achieve lofty goals, or just bathe in the minutiae and allow the world itself to wash over us? Or do we just play little games about flies to pass the time? The choice is yours, and that's the best bit about life. You can choose what you want to do. Unless you're in jail, obviously. Boo to you. Number 3, Echo Knight. As soon as I saw that Echo Knight on the PS1 was made by From Software, I just knew, that there was going to be some utter haunting its spooky bones, and boy howdy was I right. And I say this because Echo Knight's rewards, story elements, and even the ending you'll unlock are all dependent on your timings, as the ghost enemies in this game, well, they do not mess around. You see, your job is to encounter these apparitions and use their otherworldly information to solve puzzles, fill in gaps in the plot, and of course, get in my Ghostbuster because your ass is worth money. Apologies about that, but the point still stands, because defeating these ghosts offers rewards and secrets to unlock new gear and abilities. It's just a shame that each ghost only appears in certain locations at certain times, and the game absolutely loves to tell you precisely none of this. You could, and likely will, bumble through stages looking for signs of paranormal activity, all the while completely ignorant of the fact that you're simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. And should you accidentally hit a plot-sensitive ghost, well, all the other apparitions in the area will be soft-locked out, meaning that you'll likely advance the story without really fully understanding what's going on at all. Plus, if you don't get all, or at least the majority of the ghosts tagged and bagged by the time that you come to the end, then you can't even get the good endings of this game, meaning that you will likely end your run on a duff note without a clue of what you did wrong. Cheers, From Software, never change, you cheeky scamp. What's that? You didn't and won't ever? Cool. Number 2, Blade Runner. Did you know that Blade Runner got its own video game in 1997? Well, of course you didn't, because A, it was likely before some of you were even born, and B, because it was a rather unmemorable point-and-click adventure that only held real appeal for die-hard fans of the Blade Runner universe. That being said, it did have one literal killer feature that likely caught a lot of players by surprise on their first outing, which came in the form of a secret game over if you took too long gathering evidence for your cases. Now, in a world as grimy and as paradoxically neon lit as this one, you'd want to spend your time exploring the backstreets, seeing how the world works, and in many ways, how it doesn't work. Yet if you pound the pavement too much and waste time talking to every single person you come across, you'll be slapped with a decommission order of your own, ending the game there and then. Annoyingly, there's no indication other than somebody saying, better be quick about this, that this is going to happen at all, meaning that you could spend hours role-playing as an electric only to be over yourself by this game. No wonder the police are so slapdash in real life, eh? They've got to keep ahead of the game over screen. And number 1, Unsighted. Now, when it comes to the rather brilliant and totally underappreciated video game Unsighted, time isn't just precious, it's a goddamn resource. Unfortunately, it's running out for everyone involved. You see, you play as an android on a dying world, and where thanks to a spreading infection and growing rampancy, all other androids are mere hours away from turning into bloodthirsty killing machines. Now, thankfully, you can extend your own internal battery to keep on fighting through exploring the wastes and gathering resources. However, it's this same resource that can be used to preserve the other inhabitants of this world. And it's here that Unsighted presents its most delightfully devilish Seymour of dishes. Who do you save? Yourself or the inhabitants? Now, powering up your own banks makes the most sense, as after all, this affects your health, your strength, and your abilities. Yet without locals in the town, you might lose access to shops, quest lines, and rewards that could, in theory, slingshot you ahead of your self-obsessive upgrades. No matter your choice, somebody else loses, and you can actually doom an entire planet while trying to power up enough to save it. Yet, such is the bleak world of Unsighted. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 video games with secret and devastating timers. I'm trying to keep it down because Tony has sleeping. To be honest, I'm going to try and sneak out without him noticing. I'm going to go bodyboarding or something like that. I just make the most of the day, innit? And when he comes back in and when he wakes up, I'll just show him the script. I'll just send him the script. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And don't worry about that. He's a PNG, by the way. None of this is real. the whole drugging and killing stuff. So don't get up in arms about it. Don't call Peter. They're gonna... I don't even know why I'm speaking like this. He's just a PNG. Chill out, mate. He's just a puppet. Oh, you are too young to remember that reference. But there we go, my friends. Hope you enjoyed the video right there. And if you want to chat to me on the social medias, you can do so by going over here to my social media handles, which is @RetroJ on both Blue Sky and Instagram. But the O is a 0, just like myself. And you can follow my lovely editor Mark over here on his social medias as well. But before I go, my friends, I just want to say one thing. Even though we spoke today about video games with strict and pretty devastating time limits, you know what? We can always make time to be kind to ourselves at the start of each and every day. Wake up and apply that affirmation, my friend, that you are a big ledge. You deserve the best. And I want you to live a healthy and happy life. And trust me, little things like this, they can go a long way. If you can break that cycle of negative thinking and start thinking positively about the things that you have done, the person you are, and the person you could become, then you'll go forward with love in your heart, mate. And that is a big win in my books. So take care of yourself and remember, you're a big ledge. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.